Good afternoon. Please rise for the procession of the graduates.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to open the graduation ceremony of the University of Tennessee Health Science Center College of Medicine. I am Catherine Womack, Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Admissions. We are very pleased to have the families and friends of our graduating class of 2022 as our honored guests today. Thank you for joining us in person and virtually. Before beginning, I have a few housekeeping chores. First, please take a moment to locate the nearest emergency exit. We ask that everyone silence their cell phone and other portable devices. Today, we are fortunate to have Ms. Brianna Riley to lead us in the national anthem. Please stand for our national anthem. In keeping with your own personal beliefs and traditions, please feel free to remove your cap.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. It is wonderful that so many of you have been able to join us today in person and virtually to celebrate this great and momentous occasion in the lives of our graduates. I would like to thank our president, Mr. Randy Boyd, and our chancellor, Dr. Peter Buckley, for joining us today, along with Dr. James Haynes, the interim dean for the College of Medicine in Chattanooga, as well as Dr. Paul Hauptman, dean for the College of Medicine in Knoxville. I would also like to thank the other faculty on the stage for their contribution. It is now my pleasure to introduce UT System President Randy Boyd.
Thank you. Well, congratulations on this incredible accomplishment. I'm excited and honored to be here with you. Now, I say that every time I go to a graduation, I'm excited and honored, but this one is particularly important to me personally, because you see, I'm one of those lucky guys. I've always remembered my grandparents, when they were older, they had this young doctor that they really didn't know, but I'm different because I ran cross country in high school with my doctor. I've known him for like 35 years, but about 2 years ago, he told me, hey, Randy, by the way, I'm going to be retiring in a couple of years. I didn't see that coming. So it's a probability that maybe one of you might be my next family practitioner. So I'm looking forward to shaking your hands and hopefully maybe getting a good deal later with some counseling or advice. But honored to be here with you guys. And I got some advice a few years back after pretty lengthy commencement speech. Now, I'm not your commencement speaker today, but after a very lengthy commencement speech, a gentleman came up to me and said, "Randy, let me give you a bit of advice when you're speaking at a commencement. First, tell stories so you're not boring. And second, it helps if your story has a point. It doesn't have to, but it's just more meaningful if it actually has a point. And third, most importantly, remember always, nobody came to hear you speak, so be as brief as possible." So knowing that I'm not your commencement speaker, I'm just going to share one story with you today. And this is a story about an encounter I had with somebody very significant in my life that shared some great wisdom to me at age 55. So I'm going to pass on some wisdom that I learned at much later so you get an earlier start to be able to put it to use. So I used to be Commissioner of Economic and Community Development working for Governor Haslam. Being in the career path that you guys are on, the chances of the governor calling you to ask you to be Commissioner of Economic and Community Development are probably unlikely. But if they do, take it because it's the best job ever. You travel all around the world asking people to build businesses in your state and giving jobs to your friends or neighbors. It's an incredibly rewarding job. And one of the things you do sometimes is take a whole host of other business leaders with you to other parts of the world and try to build relations. And about 7 years ago, 2015, the governor and I, along with 30 other people, went to Israel for a mission trip, economic mission trip. We were there for 5 days, and it was an incredibly great trip. But the thing that I was most excited about at the very end on the Friday, at the end of the most of the work week, we had the opportunity, just the governor and I, to spend an hour with a gentleman named Shimon Peres. Now, I'm just curious because I'm looking at the age of my audience and I'm thinking, unless you studied history, you might not know Shimon Peres. You've already got your graduation, so this is one last test, and you can fail it if you want. But if you could just quickly raise your hands, how many people know who Shimon Peres is? One very cautious hand. So maybe I should tell you who Shimon Peres is and why I was so excited about meeting Shimon Peres. So Shimon Peres had been president of Israel twice. So 2 different times in his life, president of the country. He'd been a cabinet minister 12 different times. That's kind of equal to our secretary of defense, et cetera. So 12 different times he was a cabinet minister. 3 times he was the prime minister, which is the person that actually runs the country. So prime minister 3 times. At age 26, he was the minister of defense. In a country where defense is pretty important, at age 26, he was in charge of the defense of the entire country. Oh, and he also won a Nobel Peace Prize. So this gentleman has accomplished quite a bit in his life, but he was 92 years old. And I'm thinking, at 92 years old, he's not going to probably be all that he once was, but it doesn't matter. I just want to be in his presence. I just want to go shake his hand, say that I've met him. So the governor and I knocked on his door. We walk in, and he greets us, and I immediately realized I was completely wrong. He was immaculately dressed and just brilliant. Sometimes you'll hear stories about people that start at 30,000 feet and helicopter down. Shimon Peres was this gentleman that started at 30,000 feet and helicoptered up. His view of the world was so broad and so deep, and it was just full of all kinds of wisdom. I can tell you when I was working for the governor, I don't think I got in trouble too many times, but one time was this particular visit because I remember being mesmerized with him for the entire hour. And then after we left, we're walking down the hall, and the governor looks over and says, you were taking notes, right? I said, no. And he kind of shook his head in disappointment because I didn't write anything down. But I do remember 2 things, how we started the meeting and how we finished the meeting. And I'll share those with you. So we both the governor and I sat down together with Mr. Peres, and we made a little bit of small talk, and he could tell, I think, that we really didn't know how do you start? So did I mention 92 years old? So 92 years old, he says, a lot of people ask me when we first meet, what was your greatest accomplishment? And we thought, well, that's a really good question. I wish we had thought of that. So he says, they asked me what my greatest accomplishment was. And here's the gentleman, 92 years old, Nobel Peace Prize, president twice, defense minister. And he says, I always tell them my greatest accomplishment will be what I do tomorrow. And then they'll ask me, what was your greatest failure? And I always tell them, my greatest failure was I failed to dream big enough. Then he went on to say all kinds of other wise things that I didn't write down and I've totally forgotten. But I do remember how he finished. At the end, he said, you're old when you can count more accomplishments of the past than you can dreams of the future. And you're forever young when you can count more dreams of the future than you can accomplishments of the past. I've lived thought about those words ever since that meeting. I've passed those on to you now. I know you're very young, but they've got lots of accomplishments yet to come, but always be dreaming big, always be thinking about your accomplishments that you'll have in the future. Well, with any great accomplishment, you never do it alone. Surrounding yourself with great people is one of the most important keys to success. Make a point today to say thank you to the many family and friends, teachers and peers that have helped you achieve this great accomplishment today. And while this is a big day for you, you are part of something even bigger. This year, more than 17,000 other students across the state will graduate and become the University of Tennessee's alumni. And 169 of them are graduating from this college, 844 total at the UT Health Science Center. And that's a big deal and something to be very proud of. There are literally hundreds of thousands of UT alumni that have come before you, and there will be hundreds of thousands that will come after you. They have individually and collectively made an incredible impact on their community, their state, and the world, and so will you. As new alums, I'd like to leave you with 3 challenges. First, live a life that leaves the world a better place than you found it. Second, live a life that honors the UT Health Science Center tradition and makes former alumni proud. And finally, third, live a life that will inspire future generations that follow you. So in closing, I don't think commencement of commencement as an end. It's the beginning. Your greatest accomplishment will be what you do tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. In addition to the great memories you have here today, please stay engaged and continue to give back to your alma mater so that thousands more can benefit from the great experience that you have had. Again, it's my honor to be with you, and congratulations to you and your families. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Scott Strom. Dr. Strom is the Robert Kaplan Executive Dean and Vice Chancellor for Clinical Affairs for the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, College of Medicine. We welcome him as he presides over this ceremony. Dean Strom.
Class of 2022. I don't know about you, but I couldn't sleep last night. And all day today, I've had trouble wiping the smile off my face. We're so proud of each and every one of you and all of your accomplishments. So thank you, each and every one of you, for giving me the distinct privilege of being able to serve as your dean over these past 4 years. It's been an incredible honor. We met almost 4 years ago on August 10th, my birthday. Don't forget to send cards in the future. I like singing too. For the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, College of Medicine, White Coat Ceremony. I think it's fair to say that we were all a little bit nervous as we faced a future filled with challenges, hopes, and possibilities. At that time, I made you 3 pledges. I pledged to listen to your suggestions, your concerns, and your dreams. I pledged to work with our leadership to provide you with the finest medical education possible in an environment that is warm, nurturing, and fun. I pledged to work diligently to reduce your debt. Today, I'm delighted that working together, we've achieved each of these goals, using your ideas as platforms on which to build critical changes, such as free tutoring and implementation of wellness days, providing you with an outstanding medical education as evidenced by the 100% first-time board pass rate achieved by your class, a first in our history. And working hard to reduce your debt to now, over the last 2 years, where it sits below the national average. That's incredibly important to all of us, as we want every single student in the state of Tennessee who's meritorious to be able to come to UT independent of their ability to pay. What none of us could have anticipated that day was the arrival of COVID-19 and the resultant lessons that will have a profound impact on the practice of medicine. For the first time in recent memory, we remembered that basic science matters and that basic science studies, often performed in relative obscurity, have transformative potential during times of great need. The lessons from the journeys of the pioneering investigators who led these studies are not novel, but are widely applicable to all students of medicine. Great ideas must be married to perseverance to succeed. As my dad taught me, your dreams never give up on you. Your dreams never, ever give up on you. And each rung placed on the ladder of knowledge has meaning and potential utility. You do not have to cure disease. Just take the next step and teach the next generation of learners so that may continue the journey. We learn that preparation matters. We as a global society were struck by a pandemic with no clear plan for responding, limited supplies, and a lack of a clear plan for timely sharing of information. The height of these hurdles was unexpectedly and dramatically increased by social forces which turned testing and vaccination into political issues which resulted in the common denominator of death. As you continue your healthcare journey today, you will assume the role of ambassadors and advocates for such preparation. Remember the cost of complacency. Most troubling, we learn that we do not have the ability to respond with one voice to an existential threat to human life, and even to agree whether such a threat exists. We still do not have the ability to prevent those with limited access to care from dying more frequently than their wealthier peers. Indeed, here in Memphis, those living in zip codes of privilege had and have greater access to testing and vaccines than those living in zip codes of lower socioeconomic status. Blacks and Hispanics died and are dying more frequently than whites. The unanticipated ramifications of COVID-19, drug overdoses, suicide, and gun violence were and are disproportionately evidenced in our poor communities. Our generation of physicians has failed to adequately cure the systemic and structural ailments that both prevent access to care and prevent equality of care. Today, as you graduate, I wish and hope with every ember of my being that the lessons learned from our failures will inspire you and provide you the sustenance needed to help you create a better healthcare future for all. When we met on August 10th, 4 years ago, I quoted Albert Einstein, who opined that, quote, "A ship is always safe at the shore, but that's not what it's built for." I urged you to venture away from the dock together, cognizant that your sails would be filled with the winds from those who have traveled this path before, and to pledge to question the wind's directionality to improve your course. I implored you to recognize the importance of maintaining your ship, and in so doing, helping better the ocean on which you would sail. I asked you to acknowledge that one day you would be responsible for providing the wind to sustain the next generation of sailors. Today is that day. Good luck, Godspeed, and may your journey be a beacon of hope to all the people for whom you have the privilege to care. It's now my great privilege to introduce my friend and colleague, the Chancellor of the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, Dr. Peter Buckley.
Good afternoon, everybody. Scott, I think the microphone's not working. Good afternoon, everybody. Better. I'd like you all to raise, please. If you want to be a doctor this afternoon, I'd like you to stand up for a moment. I want you to turn around, and I want you to clap at everybody up there and thank them for what they did to get you here today. Terrific. Please be seated. And parents, I have a message for you as well. Be proud, but also be loud this afternoon. This is meant to be a celebration and fun. And as you can see from all our colleagues on the podium this afternoon, we could not be happier to be joining you. It is a remarkable day. I am greatly in honor and privilege of my colleague, Dean Strome, for the privilege of being here, for your class president. Also very grateful for the privilege of being with you with the support of President Boyd and your presence here today. And somewhere out there, either to the left or the right, is my wife, Leonie, and I am always privileged to be with you, and I'm very grateful to you for joining us in our journey here in Memphis and in Tennessee and being here this afternoon. It is a historic day. You've heard Dean Strome talk about the history that brought you from your opening day to today, and then also the challenge set forth. So think about this as a day in history. It's your day in history. It's a remarkable day for you and for your families. And I also want to tell you just a little bit, two things that have happened this day on history, both of which are significant for a different reason. On this day, an individual, just like each and every one of you with the capacity to change life, an individual called Nelson Mandela in 1994 became the president of South Africa. And this was a man of great resilience, a man of great humility, and also a Nobel Prize winner. Our president, I happen to know, likes the Beatles. And today is also a day of recognition for the Beatles, because the Beatles, their song, I Want to Have a Friend, I Want to Be a Friend, was 3.5 months #1 in the top 100, but exited today. And so this day is full of memories for lots of people, but today is your day, and we share it with you, and our institution and our medical school is grateful for how you have accorded yourselves to get to this day, as well as incredibly enthusiastic about what you have to offer, because you now join generations of doctors that have done goodwill from this institution since 1911. On this day, my own history, I think about when I became a doctor back in Dublin, Ireland. My parents were enormously proud, and my girlfriend and soon-to-be fiancé and wife, we were also delighted to have this opportunity and begin our lives together. And here am I some 35 years later with the enormous privilege of standing in front of you. And so you will have great moments in your career. And I want to make 8 recommendations to you. The first is today, and it is to savor this moment. It is an extraordinary moment. I remember as if it was yesterday back to my graduation, and you will remember this, and you will remember the joy of each other. And you've worked so hard to achieve this, so extremely hard. and you have a life of accomplishments ahead of you, as President Boyd indicated, and as Sharon Perez indicated. There is a life of great opportunity for humanity in your capacity to do well. And as Dean Strom said, the entire institution, the entire medical school, and our faculty, as represented by our distinguished colleagues here, are all both very proud of you, but also excited by your potential. And in a paradoxical way, as Dean Strom has illustrated, the challenge and the experience that you've had of graduating and training during an unprecedented pandemic sets you apart from any other class. The class of 2022, in my prediction, will be the greatest generation of physicians, because you will deliver a resilience, a humanity, and an empathy that this country and the world will not have experienced. So you have great training, and in many ways more so than any other class that went behind you. And so we expect great things of you. The second recommendation in that order is to learn your trade. And while you graduate today as doctors, you of course are aware you're on the next stage of your training, and you will learn and must learn, as many of you go into subspecialties, you must learn and relearn some of the activities and experiences that you've had and bring them all together with the empathy of being a fine doctor. And it is a life learning ambition and experience, so please commit to life learning all through your career. As you think about who will be the best teachers and learners, remember your days as a medical student, and remember it through when you are residents and doctors. Your patients will ultimately be your best teachers. And so ask much more than the standard questions. Ask about their experiences. Ask about healthcare, how it has influenced their lives and their families' lives. And it is through that richness of experience that you yourselves will inculcate that experience into your being of being an accomplished doctor. And so remember the experiences of your patients. At the same time, cherish some of those experiences. You will have highs and lows in your careers as doctors. Cherish in particular the highs. Cherish and value individual patient experience and comments and commendations as they come your way. It's important not only in the moment, but it's also important to steel you from some of the experiences that you will have, because we do not cure all diseases and we do not save all people that come our way. And so you will have inevitably stressful experiences. So use the experiences and the goodwill and commendations of your patients to steel you for those moments. Please go the extra mile. Don't just be a good technical physician, be a great doctor. And be engaged. Take the time to follow up. Take the time to follow up in the evenings and after hours. And take the time to explain to your patients, and in particularly to their families. Another important recommendation is to recognize that you are honored and hold a privileged position in society. Society treats physicians differently, and you must honor and respect that and uphold the Hippocratic Oath that we'll go through together shortly. But you must also hold and respect others in the same high regard. In the end of the day, no single one of us is any better than the other person. And so do not fall into the trap to think a doctor is better than anybody else. You are a human being, but you are accorded great respect in society. So make sure that you redouble that respect to others. Another important recommendation is a very, very simple one, and that is show up for life. Be engaged. Be engaged in your community. Be visible. Be present. Be volunteering. Be advocating. Be a leader. Be the person and the leader and the advocate that society expects of you, not just that you'll wear a white coat and give good care, but that you will make your society better. So show up for life. The final recommendation, which is fantastic, because I've just mentioned the word final, which means this is coming to an end sometime soon. You just don't know when. The final recommendation is to keep engaged with us and come back. We are immensely proud of you. We're joining an alumnus of a fantastic institution, and we want to know all the great things you're doing. We want you to help our institution be even better into the future. And so congratulations, and as Dean Strom said, Godspeed. Dean Strom, thank you very much for the opportunity. And Class President, thank you also.
Will the candidates please rise as you are able? Chancellor Buckley.
Yes, sir.
I have the honor of presenting for the confirmation of the degree of Doctor of Medicine the students who have fulfilled the academic and clinical requirements and standards set forth by the faculty of the college and are now ready to apply their skills for the care of their patients.
Fantastic. Thank you. Dean Strom. I accept for confirmation these candidates and welcome you to this ancient and honorable company of scholars, and express the hope and challenge that you will continue your inquiries into the exciting area of health care. By the authority of the state of Tennessee, invested in the Board of Trustees of the University of Tennessee, and by them delegated to me, I do, on the nomination of the faculty, grant you the degrees for which you've been presented and confer on you all the honors, rights, and privileges to them appertaining. It gives me great pride and honor to present you the graduating class of the University of Tennessee Health Science Center College of Medicine for May 2020. Congratulations. Please be seated.
Ushering the students to receive their hoods and diplomas is Dr. Ryan Sheehy, Assistant Dean of Basic Science Curriculum, and Dr. Jonathan Fender, Professor of Pediatrics. Please bring the first group of students forward. Dr. Fulton, Assistant Dean of Admissions, will be reading the names of our graduates. Out of respect for the solemnity of this occasion, we ask that you hold your applause until all the students have received their degree and diploma. Except, I think that you are allowed to make noise because you've been given permission by your Chancellor.
Harshath Agarwal, Ramina Elaine Akbari. Muhammad Ali. Inelium Ann Amaha, Scott Aaron Armstrong. George Thomas Atkins. Aaron Gregory Bayer. Benjamin Vincent Bailey. Ella Marie Baker. Haley Rebecca Bean. Jack Weston Bell. Brian Jacob Berube. Bryce Lance Bayer. William Matthew Bolton. Samantha Marie Brasher. Lauren Ashley Brewer. Nathan Reed Brott. Grady Lee Bryant. Molly Hannah Bryant. Hannah Jane Burnett. John Bustani Buttress. John Stephen Campbell. Matthew Allen Carnell. Zachary Harrison Carr. Michael Juan Chin. Zahir Chowdhury. Brendan James Clare. Brandon M. Clausen. Jared Clark Clements. Shelley Christina Cobb. Elizabeth Christina Connor. Julianne Macy Cottrell. Briar Keith Cranston. James Schuyler Dean II. Zachary Allen Dresch. Michelle Devon Duncan. Charles Earls. Kimberly Kiyoko Annalise Eden. Abigail Amina Edwards. Osama Omar El Kalani. Paige Farrow Davis. Siki Fan. John Ramsey Ferguson. Samuel Carl Fowler. Robert Martin Frederick II. Sierra Mullen Gaffney. Zachary Scott Garcia. Abigail Ann Gardner. Cara Hall Garrett. Tyler Geeson. Nicolette Page Glidden. Elizabeth Allen Glover. Melissa Dudrick Groover. Bushra Gongor. Gabriella Alicia Garella. William Hammond. Daniel Allen Hardesty. Isaiah Jermanuel Harrison. Franco Dominic Healy. Stephen Alexander Himmerly. Timothy Francis Herman. Stephanie Horton. Bailey Danielle Huggins. In absentia, Bailey Meyer Humphreys. Gregory John Hurley. Thomas Joseph Iorio. Shripar Harshara Shrujan Japana Raju. Jasmine Nicole Jefferson. Nina Ann John. Hannah Russell Johns. Simon Johnson. Posthumously, Richard H. Kaiser. Thank you. Madison Shelby Call. Trevor Todd Kepler. Michael Ryan Kessler. Monica Congetti. Megan Aaron Susan Kramer. Padam Kumar. Roy Howe Lan. Collins Temple Walker Langley. Sarah Catherine Lance. Joshua Peter Law. Jennifer Eileen Lee. David Allen Michael Levine. Christina April Lim. Emily Liskey. Ren Harrison Lovett. Carrie Abigail Lowe. Amy Farah Majlesi. Burton Keith Mandrell. Christopher Brian Manning. Caleb Clark Max. David Nelson Maynard. Rachel Catherine McCann. Zachary David McCoy. Madeline McIntyre. Trevor Shea McGee. Michael Garrett McNabney. Reagan Elizabeth Mead. Heidi Marie Meeks. Ryan Merritt. James Morgan. Peyton Joseph Marin. Sarah E. Nades. Robert Neal. Rachel Alice Nelson. Bo V. Tai Wen. Dylan Eric O'Neill. In absentia, Emily Lauren O'Neill. Akash Oza. Carson Parker Panovic. Susanna Jill Parker. Krishnia Patel. J. Rajendra Patel. Kevin Patel. Neelay Patel. Paul J. Pursley. Meredith Perkins. Hayden W. Perry. Emily Jane Peters. Colton Ryan Petty. Keith R. Pierce. Ethan Dylan Pollock. William Thomas Prater. Jacqueline Alexandra Pulliam. Catherine Werner Nash Purdom. David Young Q. Eric Ali Vance Qualkenbush. Serby V. Rao. Madeline Shea Radat. Anthony Tony Reedy. John Logan Reynolds. Alexis M. Rias. Abby Renee Ritter. Catherine Elizabeth Rooney. Aaron Ross. Zachary Aaron Rubnitz. Margot Grauner Sarovich. Mila Beth Scheinberg. Joshua Michael Schuler. Andrew Paul Schultz. Christopher Scott. Austin Drennan Estero Shanks. Navila Famida Sharif. Eileen Teresa Sichterman. Edward Lemaster Simpson. Sullivan Daniel Smoke. Shelby Elise Spicer. Hallie Morgan St. John. Christopher Statnick. Sarah Covington Steele. Cassidy Joy Stigall. Hannah Catherine Sullivan. Caitlin Noel Swimmer. John Jackson Martin Taylor. Caitlin Avon Tillman. Sydney Bernard Tucker. Aaron Christopher Van Alstyne. Joseph Payton Vaughn. Margaret Veers. Spandana Viguru. Devin Gerard Wade. Sybil Elizabeth Watkins. Joseph Jacob Whitaker. Matthew Weidman. James Scott Wing. Kenton Howard Wong. Jacob Fitzgerald Woodruff. Shiv Manaj Zaver. Diana Shin Zhou.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our 8th annual promotion ceremony honoring our graduates of the University of Tennessee Health Science Center College of Medicine who are also officers in the U.S. military. Today, we are honored to recognize Caitlin Noel Schwimmer, U.S. Army, Joshua Peter Law, U.S. Army, Abigail Amina Edwards, U.S. Army. Officiating today's ceremony is Captain Michael C. Mossbrugger, United States Navy, who will be performing the penning and administering the oath. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as the official party ascends the dais.
That's good. All right, good evening. Thank you to the university for having me here today. I'm honored to be a part of your ceremony and to administer the oath of office to these young officers today. I'm the commanding officer of the Navy installation just north of here in Millington, where the Navy's Centers of Excellence for Human Resources reside, including the headquarters of Navy recruiting. It is that headquarters that brought me to this area and why I have a unique appreciation for how difficult it is to recruit young people into the armed forces. I know those of you that know these individuals are already proud of them, but I would like everyone in the room to gain a greater appreciation for how special they are. You see, none of the branches of the military are accomplishing their recruiting goals right now. You would think with 330 million people in the US, we could find 1.4 million to serve, but the reality is the preponderance of our youth are not qualified, and most do not have the desire to serve. Despite the fact that video games featuring warfare of some kind are the most prevalent and popular, playing military on a video game is much different than serving. In the context of that recruiting challenge, I can tell you finding medical professionals and doctors in particular is the absolute hardest recruiting goal we have. The fact is, getting through medical school, as you all well know, is a significant investment in time and resources, and very few who set out to accomplish that can finish. Once finished, many are hoping to see some fruit from that investment, and the last thing they want to do is start it back at the bottom of another institutional ladder. These 3 officers not only chose to pile on an additional set of challenges during their years of education, they are jumping right into the fray of armed service, servant leadership, and self-sacrifice. Some people choose to do something truly hard in their lifetime. These 3 individuals chose to do 2 hard things. I assure you, being an officer in the armed forces requires one to be motivated by a sense of higher purpose. For this, they deserve our deep gratitude. I'm humbled to be in the presence of all the graduates here today. When I joined 30 years ago, we were all fretting about the Soviet Union. I can assure you that even though that threat disappeared and only recently returned in an ugly way, the years in between have had no shortage of bad actors. Unfortunately, there will always be a great need for citizens who have devoted their life to healing others. To these 3 officers in front of me, I assure you that you will do what you have trained to do. You will have truly unique experiences and adventures, and your nation absolutely supports and respects your hard work. I'm proud to be a part of your journey today, and I know you will do great things. Thank you. Will the guests please remain standing through the oath of office? Now I'd like the family of these 3 officers to come forward, please. I'm going to have you turn around and face them for the pinning. Welcome. Second Lieutenant Abigail Edwards, United States Army. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Second Lieutenant Abigail Edwards. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, Second Lieutenant Abigail Edwards is promoted to the grade of Captain, United States Army, effective the 1st of June, 2022, by order of the Secretary of the Army. Sir, you may now pin her. Put them back on again. Second Lieutenant Joshua Law, United States Army. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Second Lieutenant Joshua Law. In view of these special qualities and his demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, Second Lieutenant Joshua Law is promoted to the grade of Captain, United States Army, effective the 1st of June, 2022, by order of the Secretary of the Army. Second Lieutenant Caitlin Schweimer, United States Army. Attention to orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Army, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Second Lieutenant Caitlin Schweimer. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, Second Lieutenant Caitlin Schweimer is promoted to the grade of Captain, United States Army, effective the 1st of June, 2022, by order of the Secretary of the Army. Face. You two gentlemen. Okay, graduates, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Abigail Edwards,
Having been appointed to the rank of captain.
having been appointed to the rank of captain,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support and defend the Constitution of the United States
to support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will take this obligation, and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, captains.
Thank you. Please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Michael Witt. Dr. Witt is the Associate Dean and Chair for Medical Education and will be recognizing honor and award recipients.
The Committee on Recognition and Awards acknowledges the superior academic achievement of students by the designation of highest honors, the top 5% of the class, and high honors, the next 10%, on their transcripts. The students graduating from the College of Medicine with high honors and with highest honors will be wearing an orange stole to symbolize their outstanding scholastic achievement while a student at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center. So as I read the names of those who are graduating with high honors, I ask that you stand at your seat and remain standing to be recognized. And despite Chancellor Buckley's permission, I would ask that you hold your applause until the end. Pardon me, Doctor. Dr. Molly Margaret Hanna, Dr. Zachary Harrison Carr, Dr. Nicolette Page Glidden, Dr. Reagan Long Mead, Dr. Sullivan Daniel Smote, Dr. Kara Harriet Hall Garrett, Dr. Michael Ryan Kessler, Dr. Sarah E. Nades, Dr. Haley Morgan St. John, Dr. Caitlin Noel Swimer, Dr. Jack Weston Bell, Dr. Aaron Gregory Baer, Dr. John Bustain Buttress Jr., and Dr. Elizabeth Allen Glover. Let's give these outstanding students a round of applause. You may be seated. Students whose overall grade point average is the highest 5% of the class are recommended for graduation with highest honors. These students were recognized and celebrated last night at our College of Medicine Awards banquet. You can find their names printed on your program. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jacob Woodruff. He's the class president. Jacob, please rise. Dr. Woodruff is the president of the class of 2022. Welcome, Jacob. Excuse me, Dr. Woodruff.
Thanks for the introduction, Dr. Witt. Greetings, family, guests, faculty, and my esteemed graduates of the College of Medicine at UTHSC. My name is Jacob Woodruff, and I've had the immense honor of serving as the class president of the class of 2022 over the last 4 years. Now that Dr. Buckley has imparted some of his own wisdom and advice to our class today, it is my turn to reflect on our time at UTHSC and look back at the amazing things we have accomplished throughout medical school. All of us have had our own unique paths that have led us to be joined today. On this day, our graduation, take a minute to think back about what moments in the last 4 years stand out to you personally. With that in mind, I ask, what makes our class so special? To answer that question, it all builds from our shared experiences, which form the foundation of our bond as a class. Thinking about our shared experiences, of course, we all still remember the big stuff. Diane Harris and Nelson Strother welcoming us to the white coat ceremony back in 2018. Getting our hands dirty in the first semester of anatomy lab. Dr. Miller's legendary immunology class. Pharmacology with Dr. Sweatman. And on organ systems with notable role models like Dr. Cross, Dr. Mathia, and Dr. Krishnaya. We remember transitioning into the hospitals as third years, where we learned firsthand the truth of the old adage, the only true wisdom is that you know nothing. However, to me, medical school is filled with just as many smaller, more vivid moments that were equally memorable. It's hard to forget sitting in your TBL group the first thing the morning of the week of the test and getting a little bit overwhelmed with just how much information we needed to know by Friday's exam. Or that very specific feeling of nervous eagerness while awaiting to begin our video-recorded standardized patient encounters, and then having to go back and relive all of those captured awkward moments many days later. Maybe some of you even recalled the nausea in the anatomy tutoring at 7 a.m. after the Halloween party M1 year. Or that time the air conditioning was non-functional in the anatomy lab during the foot dissection. Yes, you're welcome for reminding you of that. Or that one particularly memorable day in March of 2020 when we all received the announcement that campus was closed indefinitely in the midst of our dedicated study period for the USMLE Step 1 exam. During clinical years, everyone had their own unique experiences, but again, we shared some common ones, like scrubbing into the OR for the first time ever and trying to put your gloves on correctly while a scrub tech looks at you with the face pleading, please don't mess anything up. We all experienced the infamous Memphis snowpocalypse. Remember boiling all your water while cramming for your shelf exam? Additionally, many of us welcomed new partners, pets, babies into our lives while progressing through this journey. But it's not just these more lighthearted moments that make up medical school. I think each one of us now can think of the patient that had a huge impact on us on one of our toughest days, or that resident who took the time to give us some constructive feedback when we made a mistake, or even that attending that pushed us to be better on rounds. With time, and many late nights reading about that case coming up the next day or about that question you got wrong on rounds the previous day, we slowly, almost imperceptibly, expanded our knowledge and gained confidence in ourselves until one day, perhaps in our fourth year, we saw a patient and realized, I know exactly what to do in this situation. These moments are just as important to our experience in medical school and form the bond we all share in our class. There will be many more classes that come through UTHSC, but none of them will have this same narrative. The thing is, even though we have these shared experiences, that's not what quite makes our class so special. No, I think it's something more than that. What really stands out are two characteristics of our class, our selflessness and sense of community. Think back to right after orientation in the first few weeks of class. Even then, we already had a shared Google Drive where people would share study aids, PowerPoints, and self-made flashcards, and other resources. This selflessness persisted into rotations as we routinely passed the need to know information to each of our successors that would take our place on the patient care team. Our class has always understood that the best way for us to succeed as individuals is to help each other as a group. Additionally, you built a sense of identity and community amongst the class. From doing group dinners through Taste Buds or early Saturday morning pickup basketball to concerts at Levitt Shell, we always supported each other and maintained a strong sense of community. However, I believe our strongest and most definitive characteristic of our class to be our class's resilience. Medical school is notoriously difficult, but the medical school era that we endured was made much more challenging due to the unanticipated impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Throughout board preparation and intense clinical years, we had to remain resilient and patient despite numerous test cancellations and other uncertainties about our futures. Despite all adversity, our class still found ways to persevere and became the first class to have a 100% pass rate on our Step 1 board exam. And of course, Dean Strom already kind of stole the thunder there a little bit, but that's all right. That being said, it wasn't just about test scores for our class. Many of you still found ways to remain dedicated to serve the Memphis community through volunteering. Much like the grit and grind of the Memphis Grizzlies, our class showed the grit to push forward during peak times of hardship and the grind to define ourselves by the pursuit of excellence. For us, it wasn't just about getting the job completed, it was about giving 110% to go above and beyond the call of duty. We accomplished so much in terms of research and academics, and we learned how to be effective leaders along the way. We dug deep, and we can sit here today and maintain a sense of pride for how far we've come. We grew so much stronger because of the challenges presented by the pandemic, and we must reflect gratefully on these lessons. In conclusion, I think we're a class of pretty amazing individuals that came together to be a class whose value was greater than the sum of its parts. The very things that made us a special group are the things I think we can take all forward into our careers. Our selflessness, our ability to create a strong identity together, and most of all, our resilience. I encourage you to think back to 4 years ago today. Think of the excitement and eagerness we all had before embarking on this lifelong profession of learning. Think of how badly you wanted to have a seat in this very medical school class and a seat at today's graduation. And remember your intrinsic reasons for applying to school. I know these 4 years have been very difficult and have required determination at times at the cost of happiness and personal wellness. But I hope each of you will reflect on some of these points before residency begins. Remember the things that inspired you to embark on this journey and the things that continue to motivate you to be a great friend, learner, and now physician. Don't forget where you came from and be kind to those new M3s when you're the resident in charge of them. And I know that no one here completed this milestone on their own, so we must be sure to extend our gratitude to those individuals, the parents, friends, spouses, and professors who pushed us to continue to chase our dreams. Completing this stage of our careers is an incredible milestone, but as the great Kobe Bryant once said, job's not finished. Our biggest challenges may still lie ahead, but each of us is ready to take that leap. By maintaining our strengths in selflessness, resilience, and the pursuit of excellence, I'm confident that the UTHSC College of Medicine class of 2022 will leave its mark on the world in an unforgettable way. I'm so proud of each of you, and I'm humbled to call you classmates. I can't wait to see what wonderful things you all accomplish in the future. Thank you. And next I'll introduce Dr. Mukta Panda.
Good evening and congratulations, class of 2022, family, friends. In a few minutes, you will be pledging the Hippocratic Oath. And the Hippocratic Oath is timeless. However, it was written at a time very different from our current healthcare. Our current healthcare environment is asking for us something much different, as you've heard from our esteemed speakers, and most recently from your class president, Dr. Woodruff. Indeed, one of the virtues, especially of your class, is that of resilience. And the current healthcare system is asking each of us to continue to promote this resilience and build a partnership where we'll commit to an unashamed, unapologetic invitation to take care of ourselves and each other as we partner with our institutions, our organizations, and our teams to provide the best care to our patients and our community. So in that spirit of promoting the resilience that you have already gained, I would invite you to stand and pledge the oath to self-care and well-being together. It is found on the last page of your program. I would invite any other physicians in the audience to also stand and recite with us. We solemnly pledge to embrace and promote the well-being of ourselves, our colleagues, and the medical community as part of our responsibility to the effective care of our patients, ourselves, and in partnership with our healthcare organization. We will seek to develop and adhere to the habits that promote and maintain humility, meaning, and wholeness of self in our work and interactions. We will be attuned to the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual needs of ourselves and others, and share our practices of well-being for the benefits of our patients, our colleagues, and the advancement of healthcare. We will commit to the integration and balance in our professional and personal life and seek help when we feel we ourselves or our peers are overburdened, fatigued, or less compassionate. We will champion for a healthcare system that values the well-being of its personnel, uses best evidence for the institutional culture of wellness, and recognizes that in so promoting are ultimately best served. We will find the courage to be vulnerable and confront professional wrongdoings to the best of our ability, while at the same time showing compassion and respect for all members of the healthcare team. I make these promises of well-being to myself and to the vocation of medicine with my highest commitment. Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to invite Dr. Sarah Cross, Assistant Dean for Student Affairs, to lead us in the Hippocratic Oath.
Class of 2022, I am so thrilled for you all, and we as faculty are so honored to be able to share in this day with you. I have loved looking out at all your faces this afternoon. You have all accomplished so much, and you are well on your way to becoming wonderful, compassionate, and caring physicians. We are so excited to see what all lies ahead for you. If you would all stand, and physicians also in the room, please join us. The Hippocratic Oath is found on the back page, and we will recite it together. I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give respect and gratitude to my deserving teachers. I will practice medicine with conscience and dignity. The health and life of my patient will be my first consideration. I will hold in confidence all that my patient confides in me. I will maintain the honor and the noble traditions of the medical profession. My colleagues will be as my family. I will not permit consideration of race, religion, nationality, party politics, or social standing to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. Even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. These promises I make freely and upon my honor. Thank you. You may be seated.
It is now my privilege to introduce Dr. Jessica Minor Ruffin, who is part of the class of 2000. She is here to welcome you as your status moves from student to alumni.
Today, as you become a graduate of this outstanding institution, you join a family of more than 422,000 UT alumni who live in Tennessee, across the nation, and around the world. No matter where you go or what you do from this point forward, you will always be a graduate and representative of the University of Tennessee. You have now become lifelong stakeholders in the image and reputation of our great university. The University of Tennessee Alumni Association challenges you to be active in the programs and events sponsored by this campus, your college, and the Alumni Association. Your participation will benefit the university, and you will undoubtedly find professional and personal satisfaction throughout your involvement. As a representative of this institution, you have the ability to positively impact the opinions and actions of prospective students, fellow alumni, community leaders, and our state legislators. So become an advocate of this university. Consider investing in the future of the UT Health Science Center. Your support, no matter the amount, will strengthen the university and provide enhanced opportunities for all those students who will follow you. We want to celebrate you. Keep us informed of your successes. These accomplishments are the best measures of the quality of your alma mater. Last year, thousands of UT alumni helped advance the university mission and goals. Some attended events and programs, participated in alumni services and our online community. Others served as volunteer leaders or invested their financial support to areas throughout the university. I urge you to take advantage of your membership in the Alumni Association by staying engaged with your university, and by all means, keep in touch with your classmates. It is now my distinct honor to induct you into the University of Tennessee Alumni Association. I extend best wishes for a long and rewarding career on behalf of more than 422,000 proud fellow UT alumni. Now is the point when I'm supposed to say emphatically, graduates, you may now turn your tassels, but you all have fancy new hats and they're already turned. So I'll just say congratulations.
Couple of housekeeping items. Following the recessional, please stay seated until the ushers release you. Our students will be taking a group photo. After the photo, you will rejoin your graduates at the lower level. I'm going to leave you with two quotes. First is from my dad. It says, "Pride, having it, makes getting anything less than your best almost an impossibility. And conversely, knowing you've given your best makes the failures bearable." You will succeed and you will fail. And those failures will have devastating consequences potentially. But forgive yourself. Learn how to forgive yourself, knowing that you've tried your best, and move on. Second quote comes from Mr. Randy Stevens, who was headmaster of a middle school. And he said, "Before you leave, remember why you came. Before you leave, remember why you came." Medicine can sometimes have all the trappings of things that we find undesirable, but there's so much good, and what we do is intrinsically good. So remember that before you leave, remember why you came. I wish you the very best in your careers. I hope to see so many of you during residency. Drop us a line, share your stories, your dreams, your hopes, and always know that you have family here at UT. Good luck to all of you.